When law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement, goes in to execute a search warrant, they've done quite a bit of intelligence gathering. It may seem excessive, but it may have been exactly what is prescribed in their rules and procedures.
After audio recordings purportedly capturing Sean Diddy Combs admitting to a range of contentious and damaging activities, including alleged initiation rituals for young rappers that Orlando Brown previously claimed, a storm has recently erupted in the entertainment and media industries. The leak has sent shockwaves through the industry, raising questions about the veracity of the allegations and the implications for all involved. The audio, reportedly obtained by Fox News through undisclosed sources, contains conversations where Diddy is heard discussing various initiation practices. According to these recordings, he purportedly confesses to organizing and taking part in these customs inside the music business. These rituals are intended to gauge the dedication and allegiance of aspiring young artists.
Yeah, you got to give her respect for that, man. But what you think about the diss record that King Combs came out with, where he was coming at 50 and coming at everybody, coming at his dad? Like, how you feel about that record?
Well, first, I want to say to this young man, before somebody take his head off, because see, that's that new school bull crap that these kids out here, they easy to fly out their mouth with that. You don't invite a man to your private. You don't invite a man to your private unless you doing the Diddy. If two men lay down, how many homos get up? Let me tell you, young man, 2 of them. You understand? So don't invite a man to your private, because that man will see you and take your head off. Especially somebody like 50. You don't send or let a boy do a man's job. I don't know if he need that type of attention or he want that type of attention. Evidently he do. But 50 is the wrong dude that you want to do that type of attention, get that kind of attention from, bro. In the infamous words of Waka Flocka, that nigga go hard in the paint. And I don't believe that this cat would even put out some trash like that and really didn't know what he was doing. He's teasing the federal government. And I told y'all, the Southern District of New York do not play. So King Kong just put another battery in their back. And you see after he did that shit, something get leaked to the press. Do you notice that, right? As soon as he did that dumb shit, talking about, well, we did this and we did that. We had this over here, y'all went to the wrong house. Some went to, he said, well, we're gonna show you how wrong we are. Yo, CNN, run this. Action, roll them. Don't play with the feds, bro. Because you got to realize this. They got a lot of time. All they got is time. Yo, they going to sit there, people sitting up there, and they want something. See, people like a fix. They need that fix real quick. They want them to hurry up and charge Diddy with something or see what they got on him. The feds gonna take their time. May take 6 months, may take a year, may take 2 years. They got up to 3 years to bring their case up. They got 3 years. So they checking everything about them. They gonna dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel like he played a part in that video coming up. You know, he'll make it a comment saying that, you know, they forgot to raid the house next door that his dad owned. Yeah, man, he was walling out.
The setting in which these recordings are made is following the release of audio recordings purportedly capturing Sean Diddy Combs admitting to a number of contentious and damaging activities, including the alleged initiation rituals for young rappers that Orlando Brown previously claimed. A storm has recently erupted in the entertainment and media industries. The leak has sent shockwaves through the industry, raising questions about the veracity of the allegations and the implications for all parties involved. In talks heard on the leaked recording that Fox News allegedly received via unidentified sources, Diddy is heard talking about several initiation rituals. The context of these recordings is important because they appear to have been made during private conversations, possibly at industry parties or behind-the-scenes meetings. Within the music industry, he allegedly admits to orchestrating and participating in these rituals, which are intended to test the loyalty and commitment of young artists looking to break into the industry. Orlando Brown's prior assertions are disturbingly corroborated by the tone of the talks, which indicate that they were not isolated events, but rather a part of a larger systematic practice among certain circles of the music business.
Yeah, I think he was just bullshitting. I don't believe he bought the house next door. Because let me just tell you something. If anything or any name that had to do with Bad Boy, the federal government going to run that. They know all the properties Diddy have. They wasn't even talking about the raid that they did in New York. But they did a raid in New York too.
Yeah, I ain't heard about that raid. I only heard about the, the LA and Miami raid. But you feel like the feds, they released that video over King Combs' comments.
Oh man, I've worked in law enforcement for 27 years, and I had the opportunity to see Hyder. It's a place, whereas they have the state, the feds, the NYPD, the Department of Corrections, and the state police. Yo, this place could be half of a basketball court. That's where they just got lines of computers with officers of all different people and officers just on the internet. Whoever's over that case, whoever's working that case, don't you know they saw that and took it to their boss? You might think it's petty, but it's not. You do not agitate a lion with a pork chop. And that's what that kid did, bro.
Some people feel like, Diddy, he played a part in that video coming out too. Him being spotted with Stevie J, smiling at the camera. A lot of people blame him too.
But bro, what did I tell you? He's such a narcissist that he has to be in the public. Listen to me. They just caught him on TMZ today or yesterday or something like that, walking out and about. Now, I'm not telling the man what to do, what he couldn't do. I don't know if the government told he couldn't travel nowhere, he couldn't be nowhere and stuff like that. But why are you gonna go outside your own compound where TMZ and every other place is waiting on you? You're not gonna get any public sympathy. That's why he had that picture of him and his father around his neck. You're not gonna get no sympathy. You're done. Stick a fork in it. Call it a quit. Apologize to Big's mother for putting her son in that position that he loses his life. It's crazy. He better do a Russell Simmons.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that, man. They saying that he gonna pull a Russell Simmons.
Well, anything's possible, bro, but I don't know if the feds will allow him since they got an open investigation on him.
In response to the disclosure, the public has been social networking platforms that are quick and intense have been fans and critics are debating the implications of Diddy's admissions, which have sparked heated debates and feelings of shock and disbelief. For many, the recordings are a startling confirmation of long-running rumors about the seedy underbelly of the music industry, and mainstream media outlets have picked up the story, sparking a frenzy of news programs. The validity of the tapes is a prominent topic of debate, with some doubting their authenticity. Talk shows and internet platforms are analyzing the recordings in search of expert viewpoints and interviewing business insiders. While some take the recordings at face value, Diddy has been under tremendous pressure to respond since the leak. At first, his representatives rejected the recordings as fake and taken out of context, but when further investigation was conducted, Diddy released a statement in which he denied any wrongdoing and claimed that the conversations had been altered to present a false narrative. Despite his denials, however, the damage to his reputation has been substantial. If the tapes are verified, there might be serious legal repercussions, including possible criminal investigations and prosecutions. Possible offenses include coercion, violence, and other abuse-related offenses. Moreover, individuals who have been the target of these initiating tactics may file civil cases, which might lead to large fines and settlements. Legal experts suggest that the outcome of any potential trials will depend on the admissibility and interpretation of the audio evidence beyond its immediate impact on Diddy. Diddy's legal team is definitely gearing up for a strong defense that will likely question the veracity of the recordings and the circumstances surrounding their creation. The leak has wider ramifications for the music business since it has exposed the unethical behavior of prominent industry players. Record labels, producers, and other key players may come under closer scrutiny for how they handle up-and-coming musicians. Calls for industry-wide changes to shield newcomers from exploitation and abuse may arise.
Gene Deal, happy to have you back on the platform, my man.
How did I know you was gonna call me, Mighty? It didn't take a rocket scientist. I was figuring when I seen that this morning, that and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about yet, but when I seen that Diddy stuff from CNN, I said, I know Art gonna call me. Art of Dialogue gonna give me a call.
Oh, you already know I was about to hit you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So with that being said, man, let's get right into it, man. What you think about the video that came out today of Diddy pitting his hands on Cassie?
Man, you know that was crazy. And I know people gonna think that, yo, this is all what Gene wanted to see. But now, listen here, man. The devil got a purpose, God got a plan. Do you understand what I'm saying? The devil got his purpose, but God got a plan. You understand? And it's all in God's plan, man. You understand? To let people see, because a lot of people wasn't believing that this stuff even existed, brother. A lot of people didn't even think that Cassie was telling lies, Gene been telling lies, Lil Rob been telling lies, everybody lying on Diddy. But Diddy told the truth. Diddy's the only one told the truth. He said, y'all just keep watching, the truth will soon come out. And you see what came out? My man, he punching that little girl in the head. Yo, you don't even kick a dog, man. You don't even kick a dog, bro. He kicking that little girl like she's a dog, man. It was crazy, man. Any man that has a sister, any man that has a friend that's a girl, any man that has a child, you understand, who saw that, if they wasn't appalled, if they wasn't like, yo, I want to beat the, you know what I'm saying? We can't say that on television, man, or on the internet or YouTube, but any man who saw that, wish they could put their hands on Diddy at that time, bro. That shit was appalling, bro. It was crazy, man. And when I saw it, I could imagine what Kim went through. I could imagine what Misa went through. You understand? It was just crazy, man, for that dude to do that to that girl like that, man.
I can't believe what I seen, man. I still can't believe what I seen in that video, man. Like the way he was kicking her was like he was kicking a field goal, man.
Bruh, when I saw him run down first of all, when I saw the white towel, I got flashbacks of him and Ja Rule running out the room. Of course, they had, what's her name, Sarah and the other girl in there, but I had that flashback. And then when I seen him run down the hallway, I had flashbacks when the same gang was chasing them. I was like, what the hell? And then when he put his hands on it, no jokes aside, because I know it's not no laughing matter, man. The just was appalling, brother. And I don't even know how they could even play that on television, on YouTube like that, and without even putting up some sensitive, you know how they put the sensitive subject matter up? That was crazy, man.
Within the music industry advocacy organizations, there have been several demands for accountability and change after the leak. Artists and fans are calling for more transparency and ethical standards. Proposals include required ethics and consent training, the establishment of independent monitoring organizations to look into misbehavior claims, and the development of support networks for artists who are abused. The disclosures have furthermore stirred mental health organizations and advocacy groups are placing a renewed emphasis on providing help to victims of industry abuse. They are highlighting the need of easily available options for anyone impacted by the behaviors detailed in the tapes. This includes safe areas where people may talk about their experiences without worrying about being punished in counseling services.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it, man. I mean, because like I said, I mean, me and you've been doing interviews for years and you've been telling me stories about Diddy, but to actually see the visual.
You know, so like, bruh, I wouldn't have never allowed him to do no shit like that around me. That's why he probably never did nothing like that. You understand? When I got the aftermath, when they told me to go over to St. Luke's Hospital, because Puff was over there in the hospital, that was the aftermath. You understand? When Kim cut his wrist up with that corkscrew, his right wrist. They got pictures on the internet with his wrist banded up. Kim did that. You understand? The aftermath of them being in the Swiss hotel and he roughing her up and like he playing fight with her, and then she runs out the presidential suite and we got the big room in there at the Swiss hotel. And then I'll be like, yo, you all right? And she like, yeah, I'm all right. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? You good? She like, yeah, good. And then she go back in the room with Puff, Diddy, Brother Love, whatever he call his name is. So, you know, it's always the aftermath of something like that, bro. But in front of you, only people who commit crimes around people who commit crimes. You know, Puff know who to do that stuff around. And that was crazy, man. When I looked at that thing, to be honest, I thought that the people who was watching it, because you know at those hotels, they have security personnel that watch that stuff. And if they didn't call the police, they should be in jail. I don't care what nobody say. You know, whoever watched that tape and didn't submit that to the authorities, they should be brought up on charges.
Why do you think the video is barely coming out right now? Because you got a lot of people, you know, that's wondering why it took so long.
First of all, they know that Puff probably paid the security personnel like, because he knew it was on camera. When he made it to the hallway, when she made it to that phone, once that phone picked up, that's going straight to security. That's for emergency purposes only. So either the concierge or somebody that's handling emergency type situations when she picked up that phone. So now, Puff probably had somebody pay them off.
The disclosure has led to previous accusations of wrongdoing. Former musicians and industry insiders are coming up with their experiences inside the music industry to resurface, implying that the problems shown by the tapes are not new, but have been going on for years. This historical context emphasizes the need of significant and long-lasting improvements in the sector. Concerns have also been raised about Fox News' involvement in the audio leak. Debatable issues include how the network got the tapes and whether or not revealing them was morally right. Supporters maintain that it is in the public interest to expose such activities, while detractors claim that the leak might jeopardize judicial procedures and the privacy of those affected.
9 times out of 10, he had somebody pay them off, bruh. And then now Homeland Security is involved. I told you, everybody talking about, yo, they ain't got nothing on him. His dumbass son come out, make this whole tape, you understand, about what they ain't got or what they, man, listen to me. Homeland Security looked at Cassie information. They interviewed her. Yo, when was the time he hit you? He hit you before? Yeah, we was at the hotel. He blacked my eye. They went through a whole lawsuit. Oh, he blacked my eye. We at the hotel. It was on this day, about this time. They said, okay, we gonna contact and see if the footage. Now they gotta keep that stuff in the archive. They have to have that security footage in the archive somewhere. So then what the Homeland Security say, yo, listen to me, on this day, this way, because just for accidents, like just say like you fell down the steps at the hotel. They got cameras in the hallway. They got cameras in the stairway. So they can see that. So now, you didn't fall down the steps, but you say you did at a certain time. They go through that whole footage. So they have to keep that in some kind of archive. Now, she told them what date and about what time it happened. They contact the security personnel and the people who have that stuff in archive and say, yo, listen to me. We're gonna subpoena that. We want that information. And they sent it to them because they don't want to lose their insurance. They don't want to lose their insurance. The things that they insure the hotel, you know, so they don't want to lose that stuff. So listen, what they do, they hand it over to them. There's going to be a lot of stuff handed over. Why do you think they got all the tax returns and everything on all 18 other companies that he was doing business with? I told y'all, the Southern District of New York, they not into losing nothing. A 98.2 percentage in conviction rates. They not losing nothing. Go ahead, man, I'm sorry about that.
What was your reaction when you first seen that video, man?
I was sick as a stomach, man. I was sick in the stomach, man, because, you know, when you have daughters, you just hope somebody don't send you to jail like that. Because any real man know if somebody put their hands on their kids like that, you know, kicking them like a dog. My first reaction was, man, there's probably a lot of other women that had that same problem with old boy. Remember Gina that got on that show, Tasha K show? And she said that, yo, he kicked me. He was punching me in my head, on the side of my head. Do you imagine what she went through and she was pregnant, bruh? Come on, man. I had flashbacks of when they told me when he beat Misa so bad that he was kicking her, she had to go hide up under a car. It's crazy, bro.
Other musicians in the business have responded in a variety of ways. Others have been more circumspect, highlighting the need for due process and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. A few have even hinted at their own experiences with similar practices, suggesting that Diddy's case may be just the tip of the iceberg. Still others have expressed shock and disappointment, pulling away from Diddy and denouncing the practices described in the recordings.
Do you think Diddy can come back from this? Because a lot of people saying it's over for him.
Oh, it is over for him. Come back to where? To be in the entertainment business? Listen to me, man. And I don't want to bring this guy's story up because it's old. And I know he's trying to live past it, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Ray Rice, his wife, spit in his face. And he did what he did on that elevator. He ain't played one football game after that. Nowhere that I know of. He may have went overseas and played or something like that. I don't know that to be true. but he didn't play in the NFL, a hell of a running back. He ain't played not one down in the NFL after that. No endorsements. Nobody's going to have anything to do with old boy. And when they come out with this other stuff, he going to come back to work. I wouldn't be surprised if he do the ultimate sin, his suicide. Because bruh, he's such a narcissistic that he couldn't stand not being somewhere and not being seen. His whole life, his whole career was about him being seen in the public. It was about him, taking everybody else's dreams and making them his. And now, him nor his kids would profit from anything from Bad Boy or Sean Puffy Combs again. His kids is gonna suffer behind this.
Wow, man, that's crazy to hear, man. And you knowing Diddy, you think it's a good chance he might take his life?
He was talking about taking his life at the City College thing. Yo, D. Ferg, ASAP Ferg's father, say, yo, man, we gotta watch him, man. This nigga talking about killing himself. I say, so let him. If you're that weak, I said, let him. And he said, Eugene, why you say that? I said, man, listen to me, man. He ain't no good to nobody if he talking about hurting himself. His life don't belong to him. His life belong to God. What he should be trying to do right now is work his way towards God now, for real, and not that devil he been worshiping. That those people got him believing, you understand, that's the true God. Because everything from what I know, since I've been around him, everything that's gone forward has been that of the devil.
Diddy has built an empire over decades, but the fallout from this scandal could drastically change his legacy. Even if he is found not guilty, the public may be less forgiving of his actions, and his reputation has suffered greatly. It is unclear how this will affect his business endeavors and relationships within the industry.
The drugs, the alcohol, the partying, everything has been of the devil. And he's been leading not only himself, our people, into some kind of damnation through his actions.
Yeah, I'm just in disbelief, man. I mean, to see his downfall. I mean, he's been on a long run, man. So, to see this is crazy, man. I mean, how long has he been famous?
Nah, see, you gotta realize, he didn't get his fame until after he made that, remember, you gotta remember this, Mighty. I said he made the atmosphere for Pac to die. He made the atmosphere for Big to die. He created the atmosphere, you understand, for Suge Knight to go to jail, because that's what came out of his mouth. So that didn't happen. His fame he didn't really come famous until after the death of Tupac and the Notorious Big, brother. So that's like 97. He went on that whole Bad Boy tour with the #1 song in the world, Missing You, where he stole the thing from Sting and the music from Source Money, the lyrics from Source Money. Didn't even want to pay that man his money. Waited all those years to pay that man his money. He was stealing people's dreams, man. He's the cause of a lot of people's death, and people ain't gonna see it the way I see it. But when you steal somebody's dreams, Black Rob probably could have changed his life. Probably could have changed the way he thought. Probably could have changed the way he was doing business if he wouldn't have stole G-Dep from him. If he would have treated Craig Mack in the correct way and not try to steal his music use him in the way that he used Craig Mack to catapult the Notorious Big, Craig Mack's life could have been changed. If he would have never set up the atmosphere and had Big out there in California and bringing Big to that party, the Notorious Big life may still be here. If he wasn't trying to put the Bloods against the Crips, well, they was already against each other anyway, but use the Crips.
The leak's effects go beyond the music business, reflecting larger social concerns about responsibility and the abuse of power. Discussions spurred by the tapes are echoing with other campaigns against mistreatment and wrongdoing. Such this convergence of concerns emphasizes how widespread these challenges are and how urgent it is to take collective action to solve them. The leak also highlights how important technology is in keeping powerful people accountable in a time when it is easier to record and distribute private conversations, increasing the possibility of exposing wrongdoing. However, this also raises ethical concerns about consent and privacy in the digital age, making it difficult to strike a balance between the rights of individuals and the benefits of transparency.
Maybe Tupac would have never had that altercation. But if ands, and buts were candies and nuts, like I always say, Christmas would be every day. And I understand that. But he set up the atmosphere for a lot of people. Set up the atmosphere between him and BMF. Come on, man. They say one day you gotta pay the piper. That's why he getting that smoke.
Sauce Money, you brought his name up. He had an issue with Diddy?
For years, Sauce Money is the one who wrote that Missing You, bruh. The #1 song for it was a #1 song on Billboard. I think he did more than Elvis or anybody. Probably Whitney Houston. But Whitney Houston's the only one did like Triple Diamond or something. But that Sauce Money was like the #1 song, and that's what catapulted him into stardom. He didn't pay Sauce Money for years. For years. And Sauce Money wouldn't say this, but I know this to be true. He did a diss song on Puff. Sent it to Jay-Z. Jay-Z called Puff and said, yo, my man, you don't want that diss song to come out about you. This is true story. I think Puff sent him $100,000 or something like that. And that was, but that could have been about 8 to 10 years after that came out. You know how much money he made and show money and everything he did on that? It's crazy. But the only person who was getting paid off that was Sting.
After the immediate shock of the leak subsides, attention will probably turn to practical steps and changes. To provide a more secure and morally sound environment for all artists, legislators, advocacy organizations, and leaders in the business must work together. Legislative adjustments could be necessary for this. Industry rules and societal changes that place a higher value on honesty and respect than on exploitation and power. The music industry has been rocked by the leak of audio recordings purportedly showing Diddy confessing to initiation rituals and other misconduct. Although the veracity and context of the recordings remain under investigation, the implications are already profound, and calls for accountability, victim support, and industry-wide reforms are becoming more and more loud as the story develops. Regardless of the conclusion, there will probably be significant changes to the way the music industry functions and how power dynamics are managed. This tragedy has brought attention to the critical need for more openness, moral guidelines, and safeguards regarding up-and-coming musicians.
Gene Deal, we got to get right into it, man. Diddy, his house got raided. How you feel about that?
Well, I think that the authorities came up with enough evidence to go into a judge by using the civil cases that has came upon him. So because they used the civil cases and found that there was some criminal activity that may have been found at some one of those people who, like Cassie, Jonathan Odie didn't have a civil case against him, but Cassie, Jonathan Odie, and Lil Rob, they used the evidence that they had or the statements they made and convinced the judge that there was enough probable cause to go in there with a search warrant. But the way they did the search warrant and how they did it, man, I thought he was El Chapo or somebody. You know, they took a tactical team in there, brother. They had tactical units. You understand? And it was for allegedly a sex crime. But they took, yo, my man, did you see the artillery and the way the Homeland Security came in there? My man, you would have swore, you know, it was gonna be some gun violence up in there, how they came to it. So my feeling of it is that enough statements have been made that they could probably prove. They did enough investigation. See, people think that when the federal government go in there on you, the reason they got a 99% conviction rate because most people say, they got me. They don't go to court with them. So for them to have a team in New York, because they didn't really mention too much about New York. They had property in New York, property in Miami, and a property in LA, all simultaneously hit. Those different agencies had to get together, plan that, and that's not no bull. You know, that's a lot of manpower, a lot of money. So they want to know how they spent the taxpayer. The taxpayer's gonna know why you spending my money on this to come up with nothing. So you best believe they had something in the first place to go up in there, either through, like I said before, wiretaps. You understand? Because if they convinced the judge that they need a warrant, they had wiretaps, surveillance, and different things that was going on. And then, like, it's a lot of crazy statements that have been made. And you gotta look at that interview that Jonathan Odie did, bruh. You know what I'm saying? That was probably more damaging than Cassie. And that was more damaging than Cassie, because check this out.
The implications of the audio leak go beyond the music industry and impact not just well-known musicians, but also aspiring artists and industry personnel across the board for several up-and-coming performers. Fears of exploitation and abuse have tarnished the dream of breaking into the music business, which may wear out up-and-coming talent and lead them to look for other paths or give up on their dreams entirely. In reaction to the controversy, some record labels and production companies may start reviewing their internal policies and procedures. Clearer norms about consent and workplace behavior that seek to avoid any type of coercion or exploitation may also be established as part of an effort to build tougher codes of conduct and more open systems for finding and developing fresh talent.
Diddy was transporting liquid cocaine on his private jet. Now, the DEA wasn't involved in this. It was the FBI and the Homeland Security, basically. That's because of the sex trafficking thing. But if they find any of that stuff in any one of his houses, there's a problem. Even if they find illegal guns, the constitutional right goes the right to bear arms, but he had to have licenses for that shit. So if anybody got illegal guns up in there, and they find any kind of drugs to a high amount, cocaine and weed, I don't think Diddy gonna get charged because what he did, he put everything in his kid's name and his company.
Did you see the video of his kids in handcuffs?
Yeah, that's a tactical thing. The kids being in handcuffs is a tactical thing that law enforcement use, you understand, hoping that people who've never been in handcuffs before, that it either scares them or want to make them talk. There's no reason after they searched those kids, because they didn't have a search warrant for bodies. They had a search warrant for like materials, laptops, telephones, logs, pictures, tapes. You know, that's what they search warrant is for. They didn't have a search warrant for bodies. So those kids, when they came out, they should have searched them. And then, yo, listen, y'all sit down right there. That was a tactical move to get them to talk and to scare them into saying something, you know, by keeping them handcuffed like that. They didn't have to do those kids like that. None of those kids have, that I know of, criminal cases against them or known for criminal activity. So there was no reason for them to do that. If them was the damn Rockefellers or somebody else, they wouldn't have had their kids handcuffed like that. But you gotta realize their father has painted a crazy picture to the authorities. You understand? It's a crazy picture and people don't realize this, brother. First and foremost, Puff has been dodging the legal system for years. His affiliation with BMF, even though Meech has said that Puff never did anything, Puff never been around her, they still was partying together. So in the authorities' mind, they feel like Puff knew what Meech was doing.
The substance and culture may also be impacted by the discoveries. A shift in the music industry could result in a wave of songs and albums that tackle these pressing issues. Artists who have witnessed or experienced such practices might use their platforms to create music that speaks out against abuse and exploitation, raising awareness and fostering a culture of accountability and respect. A key factor in bringing about change might be changing the thematic landscape of professional music organizations like the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers of SCAP or the Recording Academy. These organizations might lead campaigns to educate members about moral behavior, provide assistance to abuse victims, and push for changes in the industry as a whole. Their participation would give attempts to address and resolve the problems brought to light by the leak more legitimacy and structure.
Then with the introduction to Jacob and different people, and a lot of people going to jail for money laundering and stuff like that, Puff being, and this is documented, Puff being a CI for an FBI agent. I said this years ago, that him and Kirk Burroughs took some paperwork, they was taking some papers up to the FBI, so like when they was here in New York. They was taking paperwork up there and stuff like that. Don't know what it was, but later on found out that he was a CI. You understand? Now, what happens? He don't have that. The guy probably, that was 20, 30 years, 20 something years ago. The guy probably retired. Puff ain't dealing with him, no, he didn't pass Puff on or something like that. So now, Puff been dodging the legal system with the, people had it wrong. They think it was with the Black Mafia family. No, it was with Butt Naked. I said this years ago. The person that he said is his senior advisor, Corey Jacobs. Corey had 9 16-to-life sentences for drug trafficking. You make him your senior advisor, even though that was your man, he coming home. That's your man, pots and pans. But Whoop was the one who took care of them when they was away. You know what I'm saying? Whoop was the one who took care of them. So now, you got all these, you know, these characters, you know, around you. What they gonna think when they come to your house? They got the evidence, or they had statements that you blew up Kid Cudi's car. You understand what I'm saying? They have statements that, you know, you may have been affiliated with people being shot. So they come to your house like this. They treat your kids like this. Based on the picture you have played to the authorities. So them having his kids like that, I think that was wrong. After they searched those kids, make sure they didn't have no weapons on them, sit them down on the ground, make them feel comfortable, because at this time, they're not criminals. They haven't committed any crimes.
I see. Speaking of drugs, right? Because you made a comment about it earlier. How you feel about Diddy's drug mule getting arrested?
The news about them arresting the mule, now, they're gonna have to prove that. Now, if that guy becomes a witness, and if they can track anything back to Puff with that, that's gonna be one of their star witnesses.
Damn.
Cause see, they will give him leniency. They were like, yo, listen, man, hey buddy, listen here, we don't really want you. You know, we know you was just doing this to, you know, you were doing this to take care of your family, feed your moms. You know what I'm saying? Pay your rent. We know that. This guy's living out in this mansion, using you. Then that guy becomes a star witness.
The substance and culture may also be impacted by the discoveries. A shift in the music industry could result in a wave of songs and albums that tackle these pressing issues. Artists who have witnessed or experienced such practices might use their platforms to create music that speaks out against abuse and exploitation, raising awareness and fostering a culture of accountability and respect. A key factor in bringing about change might be changing the thematic landscape of professional music organizations like the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers of SCAP or the Recording Academy. These organizations might lead campaigns to educate members about moral behavior, provide assistance to abuse victims, and push for changes in the industry as a whole. Their participation would give attempts to address and resolve the problems brought to light by the leak more legitimacy and structure.
Man, listen to me, bro. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were saying the feds are so deep and involved in this that Diddy just might be called up on that Tupac shit once they go through the money trail. Once they go through the money trail and find out why certain people was given certain positions, that it may be a problem. Because they're gonna look at all that. Anything they can bring up, they're gonna bring it up.
Wow. So you think it's possible that they might pit Pac murder on Diddy?
Yeah. That's why that tape of Cassie was released. So anybody who was willing to try to help him, anybody was trying to say that he ain't capable of doing this and he ain't capable of doing that, they got it right there on videotape.
But you being around at that time, right? Because you was working at Bad Boy at that time when, you know, the whole Pocket Big thing was going on. You personally, do you think they can get Diddy on Pac murder?
Well, they always said something about $1 million check, and nobody knew where the $1 million came from. Puff may have said it in a couple of rap songs and things like that. But they would have to trace the check back to if that check Eric Von Zip had. And I'm not gonna say the person who they said they gave it to because I've said it before, and I told people who contacted me that I wouldn't bring old boy name up on that because of situations that he's having in the federal government right now. So if they trace it back to Eric Von Zip and say, why were you on, and he's dead now, but they have to explain why did he was able to get some publishing money or some kind of deal off the sale of Black Ground Records, and they put him as Tank manager or Tank something for Tank, this, that, and the third. Why did they do that?
If the accusations result in successful legal actions and significant reforms, They could set a precedent for how similar cases are handled in the future. This could lead to a safer, more ethical industry where young artists can pursue their careers without fear of exploitation. The long-term effects of the leaked audio could change the music industry for years to come. On the other hand, if the sector does not adequately handle these problems, it may lose credibility and see a decline in the number of fresh talent entering the market.
Yeah, I got you. And when you say check, right, just to get some clarity for the people that don't know what you're talking about, you talking about the $1 million check, right, that they put on Tupac to get him killed, the hit?
Yeah. What I'm talking about is that if Puff has said on a couple of records that he'll pay $1 million to, but he was just talking to people randomly. So now everybody said that, and Keefy D said that Puff told them that he'll give them $1 million. Now, do we believe that? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't. Because it was situations whereas that it could have got done by certain people that was around them, but it didn't happen. So when Zip came up with the check for $1 million, he said it was from Black Ground Records. And he said that who he got that money from. So now, if that's true, then the feds would have to go in and do a money trace on where did that check come from. And then they're going to say, why? Why was that check given to Eric Von Zip or Eric Zip Martin or Eric Martin? Why did that check was given to him? And saying that he had something to do with Tank. And he sold the company, which wasn't all his company anyway, for $1 million.
The music industry has undoubtedly reached a turning point with the leak of the audio recordings purportedly containing Diddy's admissions. While the full impact of these revelations will take time to materialize, it is evident that they have already sparked important conversations about power exploitation and ethics in the entertainment industry. The industry is at a crossroads, with the opportunity to enact meaningful changes that could protect and empower artists in the future. Whether it chooses to seize this moment or let it pass will define its legacy for years to come. As the story continues, the focus will probably remain on getting justice for the victims and making sure that the music industry changes to promote a culture of respect, transparency, and ethical behavior for many.